Dude, did you hear that the Disney movie Frozen and Disney on Ice was originally created just to trick the Google search algorithm into hiding the search results about Walt Disney's frozen head being hidden under the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disney World?
What?
Yeah,
Dude, no way.
let's get into it.
All right.
Where are you going? We haven't even started. Punchlines and plot twists. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to the Punchlines and Plot Twist podcast. I'm your host, Caleb.
And I'm your co-host, Ethan. This is going to be our first plot twist episode where we are going to focus on a deep dive into specific conspiracy theories, as well as us talking about pop culture topics such as movies, TV shows, music, and honestly, anything else that we feel like.
That's right. Now let's get into this week's conspiracy theory. On December 15th, 1901, in Chicago, a star was born, Walter Elias Disney, better known as Walt Disney. As Walt grew up, he developed an interest in drawing. He took classes and grew his talent. When he turned 18, he got a job as a commercial illustrator. Shortly after that, he moved to California. And in 1920, he set up the Disney Brothers studio with his brother, Roy. In 1928, along with the help of It Works, he developed his first character named Mickey Mouse. He actually voiced Mickey Mouse in its early years. Throughout his career, he would help produce and develop full feature-length cartoons such as Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Pinocchio, Fantasia, Dumbo, Bambi, Cinderella, and more. In the 1950s, Walt expanded into the theme park industry and opened Disneyland in California. Then in 1965, he began development on another theme park, Disney World, which in the heart of the park was supposed to be Walt's dream, a utopian city called the Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow, or EPCOT. Unfortunately, Walt Disney was a heavy smoker and died of lung cancer in 1966 before it was completed. He was cremated 2 days later and laid to rest in Fort Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California. Or is that just what they want you to think?
Okay. See, in 1964, 2 years before Walt Disney's death, a man named Robert Ettengert published a book called The Prospect of Immortality, which proposed a theory of immortality through cryogenically freezing yourself after death. And according to a book written in 1986 by Leonard Mosley, Walt was obsessed with the idea of chronic preservation and had his lung removed and preserved cryogenically in case he was brought back to life. The only problem with that is Mosley wrote this book 20 years after Walt's death, and had also been strongly discredited by the Disney family. Nonetheless, the rumors continued to spread, and in 1993, Mark Elliott wrote a book called Walt Disney, Hollywood's Dark Prince, where he claimed that Walt was obsessed with death and wanted to preserve his own body at all costs. This has also been discredited by the Disney family. But was it even possible for Walt Disney to have cryogenically frozen back in 1966?
Well, actually, it might have been. In 1967, Dr. James Hiram Bedford, a psychology professor, was the first person to ever be cryogenically frozen, and he still remains preserved at Alcor Life Extension Foundation. So technically, Walt Disney could have had access to the technology, but the rumors continued to develop, and people wondered, what if Walt Disney did cryogenically freeze himself? Where is he? The answer ranges depending on who you ask, but common answers are usually under the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, under Cinderella's castle, and in the Utilidor system at Epcot, or at the Magic Kingdom. The Utilidor system is a real 9-acre tunnel network that runs under the entirety of the Magic Kingdom for staff purposes, or that's what they say.
Also, it is a fact that the Pirates of the Caribbean ride used to have real human skeletons from UCLA instead of props because they were cheaper. Although Disney claims the real bones were eventually replaced by some people question if that's true. And if that is a lie, what else could they be lying about? Caleb, what do you think? Is Walt Disney cryogenically frozen and hidden under Disney World?
Ah, man. I mean, it's kind of a tough one because I don't think that it would be it's a totally out there theory, you know?
No, I don't think
Especially
so.
because he was a man of wealth and means, especially at the time he died, um, where he could have had access to technology like that and the funds to fund that. Um, but at the same time, the main problem I have with this theory in general, and being cryogenically frozen in general after you die, is you're already dead.
Yeah.
So getting brought back doesn't actually fix anything, unless except for that disease. Yeah, okay, cool. They have a cure for cancer, but you're still dead. They have to have a cure for death too, which that seems like, unless the idea is like taking the brain and like uploading that into an artificial body, like that seems a little bit more practical because you're already dead and you want to come back into your already 85-year-old body.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
'Cause
and
it- yeah, it wouldn't
that's the
fix
problem
his-
I have.
it
Like,
wouldn't
what
fix
does it
anything.
fix? It doesn't fix anything other than, I mean, guess maybe you get like another 14, 15, 20 years if you're lucky.
I think the craziest thing about it is, like, if I were to just dive into this and
Mhm.
I saw fucking, well, at first I did when I saw that it said they think he's cryogenically frozen under the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. I
That,
don't
yeah,
think that's where he'd be.
I don't think he's anywhere under Disney.
No, I think it might be possible
The
he's
utilidor system
frozen.
kind of makes maybe sense. Like the most likely out of all those, just maybe they have a secret room in a bunker, like with a lab kind of setting
That would be
where
creepy
he's
as
in
hell.
there. But still, yeah. Either way, I don't think that would be the location, and I
No.
also don't think they would hide it if he was frozen though.
Yeah,
Like
the family has came out multiple times and
times and
said
said
that
like
it's
he's
not
not. He
true.
didn't even know about the technology.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't interested in it. Like they've all discredited those books and what those reporters say. Um, there was also a story apparently that that first story that the reporter had witnessed Walt Disney remove his lung and have just his lung cryogenically frozen. Um, like apparently that guy was the actual like journalist he was talking. I don't know for sure, but the journalist that he was talking about in the book, like nobody's ever been able to identify. So he could have been an entirely made up journalist that this guy just created, you know?
Yeah, that is
And
true.
I think it's a fun theory and it's a fun thing to think about, but I don't know how realistic it is. And I don't know why they would hide it because it's already, I think currently there's 500 people currently frozen cryogenically with like 1,500 people on the wait list to be cryogenically frozen. Like, so it's kind of a common theme for people with extreme means that
Yeah.
are worried about that kind of thing, you know? So I don't think it's something to really hide about, but also in 1967, maybe it was a real taboo kind of thing.
Well, and that's the thing. I don't think back then that people really would have been doing that. I don't
Yeah.
think the technology was there yet for him to even
Well,
just
it was
freeze
there. We
himself.
know that. We know it was there. It was a year after he died, the first guy was frozen. So that technology was probably there being tested on like animals and shit like that already.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
He was already dead once
Yeah.
the first person was frozen.
Yeah. So,
So-
that also, yeah, it decreases the likelihood for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying it's 100% impossible. I just think it's highly improbable that
Yeah, I would
he
agree
is
with that.
frozen
I would
somewhere.
tend to agree with you there for sure.
But it is something fun to think about.
So let's give it a likelihood rating on a scale from 1 to 10. We will do this with
Oh.
all of the conspiracies we talk about. This is just the one for this week. If you have a specific conspiracy theory you would like us to talk about, pretty much all of them are on the table. We're not going to talk about anything modern day, and we're going to leave politics out of all conversations that we have on this podcast. It's just not the place for it. But other than that, everything is on the table. So if there's something you want us to talk about, put it in the comments, and we will more than likely talk about it at some point. But I think my rating for likelihood on this one is going to be a 2. What do you got?
I was gonna say 3. I'm gonna stick with 3.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing really to explain there. I just don't think
Yeah.
it's possible. I'm
Yeah.
not saying it's impossible. That's why I'm giving it a 3, because he'd have the money
Yeah.
and the means to do it if
Yeah.
he knew about it and the technology was there. I just don't think any of it was.
Yeah, and the Disney family member that's been like adamantly denying these claims is Walt Disney's daughter.
Yeah.
So someone who knew him very well, and I don't think she'd have a real reason to lie about it. If she had a chance that her dad was going to come back, I think that'd be kind of a cool thing for her anyway.
Yeah.
And that's why I gave it a 2. But technology might have been there, and he was rich enough to do it. So it's a maybe. And Disney does do wild shit like put real skeletons in their ride. So yeah, I think that's a good ending point for that one.
Yeah.
So now we are going to move into the pop culture segment. And the first topic that we have for today
Let me pull this up. Let me pull this up.
is
Hold on.
Daredevil Born Again. Here right
Fantastic
now
show. Fantastic
is
show.
your spoiler warning. If you have not watched the entirety of Daredevil Born Again, stop watching right now.
We
Go
are
watch it.
about to cover the whole first season.
Yes,
The
there
whole
will be
first season.
spoilers. Everything big that happens in this season, we will talk about. So if you don't want those spoilers, go ahead, pause this podcast, go watch that amazing TV show that brings back some characters that we know and we love from the comic books. We're repping our comic gear right now. We both got Spider-Man shirts on because we wish Spider-Man was in this show. But after you go watch, I guess that was kind of a spoiler. Spider-Man's not in the show. But go watch the show and then come back and get into this review with us. We're going to be talking about our reviews, our favorite episode, our least favorite episode, good moments, bad moments. And then we are also going to rate all of the seasons of Daredevil 1 through 4 and where we rank them from worst to best. And it should be a good time.
Yeah, it's a good thing you put the spoiler warning out before the Spider-Man thing.
Yeah. I don't think that's a huge spoiler though, because everyone
No, but
knows
I
that
wanted to
Marvel
see
doesn't
him.
have the rights to Spider-Man, and using him in a TV Disney Plus show is the likelihood of that's going to be very minimal.
0.
And in this case, it was 0.
Yeah.
Sorry for everybody who's counting on it. I wasn't counting on it. I was hoping for it, but we'll get into that. So Slim, what do you think overall? What do you think of the Daredevil show overall?
Oh boy.
Born Again.
I love the first show that they had on Netflix.
I do too.
It's a great show.
Fantastic.
I think I like this show more.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because I like the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think we'll get into it with the season rankings. I
Mhm.
don't think this was the best season,
Mm-hmm.
but just the difference in how they filmed it
Mm-hmm.
through the whole
The camera
season.
work was.
The camera work and the audio, just the
Fantastic.
audio and visual
Mm-hmm.
it was fantastic.
Absolutely. That's something they did really well in the Netflix show, though, too.
They did. I just feel like they did it a lot better in the new Disney Plus show.
Mm-hmm. So let's get into we'll do the good, bad, the bad, and the ugly. What do you got for your good on this show?
The good on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Um.
Or actually, no, let's start with the bad. Let's start with the
Okay,
bad.
we can start with the bad. Okay.
And this will be the bad and the ugly, because there's not really bad and ugly for this show.
It's both.
There's really no
So-
ugly for this show.
Yeah.
It all looks amazing.
Yeah. The bad, I would say, again, spoiler alert. So in the TV show Kingpin, he is now the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he runs and becomes the mayor.
Mayor Fisk.
Mm-hmm. I like that storyline. I
Mhm.
like it a lot. Especially bringing back the same actors too.
Mhm.
Fantastic. And then they brought Muse in shortly after. I didn't like how short the Muse story was.
Mm-hmm.
It was very quick. It was good. It
Yeah.
was still good. I did still like it. It was just, I wish we would have seen a little bit more of Muse.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know you were talking about it earlier with the White Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that,
Hector Ayala.
yeah, I wish we would have got to see more of that too. That's
Yeah,
only the really
sure.
bad thing I have to say about it.
See, yeah, I have a little bit more bad for this show. But I'm also a little background on us. I am an avid comic reader, for both Marvel and DC. I am also currently reading the Invincible comic compendium #1 first, and I'm working my way through those. I'm a big comic reader. Ethan is not so much of an avid comic reader, but he still read some of the comics back in the day, when we were growing up, and he is fully up to date with all MCU um current projects. And yeah, you're up to date with the MCU, correct?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Trying to think of what I don't know. I don't know. I guess we'll
Okay.
find out when we get
He
there.
doesn't know because he doesn't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, I have a little bit more of the bad for this show. And that was really just the character development arcs. Like, man, the Muse arc was really disappointing for me, because Muse is a character that I really love in the comics.
Yeah.
And but I also don't think that it's over for the Muse storyline. I was throughout this whole season, I was hoping that that was a copycat Muse, especially after the death of Muse.
Yeah.
I was hoping that that was just a copycat, and we'd get an identity reveal towards the end of the season of the real Muse. Or I'm also kind of hoping that maybe they do a resurrection story, which would leads into what I want for the future, but we'll talk about that later. But the Muse arc overall kind of was anticlimactic. I did like what they did with the Taekwondo kind of background. That's something that's a little bit newer to him. And as a person who did Taekwondo, it was kind of a cool little Easter egg for me.
Yeah.
The Hector Ayala storyline was kind of anticlimactic for me.
Yeah, we needed to see more.
Where I wanted more, exactly,
Yeah,
and
we
I
needed
mean
to
it
see
as in
more.
the best way. Like I loved Hector Ayala. I just wanted more of him and his storyline, and I wanted him to watch him kick ass in the suit at least once. So he just got shot in the head. But overall, it was. I liked the character, and I don't have a lot of complaints. I just wish I got more of it. And it's kind of the same thing with Frank Castle as well. Is I
Yeah.
wanted more Frank. What we got was fantastic, and I can't complain about. But I wanted more. And really, that's my general complaint of the show is that I wanted more. The visual, I have really nothing bad to say other than that we didn't get the double D's on Matt's suit
Oh yeah.
in this season. I know I've seen the leaks from season 2 set photos. It looks like we are finally getting it, which would be really sweet, and I'm excited to finally get the double D's for Matt. But yeah, overall, let's get into the good now, because there's a lot more of that than there is of bad in this show.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. How about you start the good? I started the bad.
Okay, yeah. So the camera work, especially
Oh, it's fantastic.
specifically in episode 1, the diner scene with or the bar scene with Bullseye and Matt fighting it out, and then the death of Foggy Nelson at the same time. The way the camera used dolly zoom to show Matt listening into the conversation with Foggy, I thought was incredible.
Yeah, it was a great shot.
And just that entire fight scene and jumping back and forth and hearing Foggy's heartbeat throughout the fight scene was really heart wrenching, and it did a fantastic job. It was really emotional, um, and showed how evil Bullseye is, just fucking taking out everybody he can with anything he can.
Yeah.
And then the chemistry between the cast was something I really wanted to note and highlight from this season. The character development for all of these characters was incredible, and the acting was awesome. Some of the interactions that were really memorable to me were Matt and Fisk in the diner when Fisk is still running for mayor.
Yeah.
I feel like they should both get an Oscar for that scene because I could feel the tension, like you
was
could cut it with a knife.
suspenseful, dude. You're
Um,
just sitting there waiting to see what was going to happen.
Yeah, and the chemistry between them was so great, and like Fisk laughing at him was,
Yeah, you could feel the tension
Yeah,
through
it
the
was-
screen.
and then
it was great.
Matt and Frank specifically. The first time they meet, I believe that was episode 4. Episode 4, where they're talking in Frank's bunker, and they just have that really emotional where Matt's like, "I think you need you're asking for permission to hurt somebody," and then like when he's like, "He got life," and did Foggy get life? Like that was really like tearing on my heartstrings, and like I could really feel the passion in that scene, and you can see how tortured Frank is and Matt is at the same time, and how guilty their consciences are, and how heavy that weighs on them, and that was incredible.
Yeah.
Matt and Hector's chemistry was awesome,
Oh yeah, I did.
especially after Matt reveals his identity in the courtroom, and like pulls up the hood, and then they're like talking about it in the cell or in the interrogation room, and he's like, "What the fuck, Matt?" And Matt's like, "This is the only option, but you can never be White Tiger." Like that whole scene was awesome. Um, uh, Muse and Heather also.
Oh,
When they
yeah.
were when
Yeah.
he's doing his reveal and slowly drawing with his own blood, like and revealing that he's Muse. That scene specifically, no notes on Muse. Like that was fantastic.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Um,
That one, I feel like it was like truly, like he got into the mindset of a
Yeah.
psychopath.
Yep.
Like he nailed it. It was a little fucking
Absolutely.
crazy.
It was making my skin crawl, like for
Yeah,
sure.
it made me uncomfortable listening to the whole speech.
Yeah, and then lastly, the other big one that I wanted to highlight was the relationship between Fisk and Vanessa, and
Oh, yeah.
all of their internal relationship conflicts they were going through, and her putting the hit out on him,
Just dysfunctional.
and Fisk having her affair, the guy from her affair, locked in the cage in the
Oh,
basement.
and she kills him.
Yeah, and she ends up
Yeah.
killing him, and she becomes the queen pin to his kingpin. Like that relationship arc was fantastic, which I expected nothing less because we saw that in the first show. But yeah, no, I really no notes on that. And then one other thing I really wanted to highlight was the bottle episode with the bank robbery and Kamala Khan's dad. I really liked that. I'm one of the people who really liked the Miss Marvel show. That's super unpopular, apparently. I don't get it why. I loved it. I thought it was sweet and wholesome, and a good storyline. And the idea of Kamala Khan's dad sitting there making a DIY little bobblehead of his daughter, like, just makes me smile. And I really liked that in this season as well. What do you
Yeah.
have for the good in this show?
Honestly, I agreed with a lot of what you had to say there. My favorite part about it, though, which you also noted, was all of the one-on-one conversations.
Mm-hmm.
The way it just kind of like drew you into the conversation every single time. It was fantastic. And in the last episode, in the finale, season 1, episode 9, when Frank and Matt Murdock
Mm-hmm.
are in his apartment after he gets released from the hospital.
He sneaks out of the hospital.
Or
He doesn't
well,
get
yeah.
released from the hospital. but
Whatever, yeah. He's out of the hospital,
Mhm.
walks back in there, still in his fucking gown and everything. And Frank Castle's just sitting there waiting for him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then it just turns into a badass fight scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like the bickering back and forth between him.
Mm-hmm.
Because Frank's still at that point where he's giving him shit for not killing anybody.
Yep. He wants him to release that inner demon inside.
I know. I like
And
where
Matt's telling Frank to stop. He's like, Frank, stop! And then he puts 2
Boom.
bullets through the head, through the table. Yeah, it was hardcore. The season finale was gory as hell, and I loved it.
Yeah, because I remember seeing different like rumors and stuff before the show came out that there was going to be like really gory and a lot darker, and in the season finale they showed us that it definitely can be.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that was pretty cool. I did like that. And I also like how they are kind of getting somewhere on the Foggy story too. I like how they're making progress with that, like how it kind of developed through that like last 2 episodes. That was also great.
Yeah.
Other
Absolutely.
than that, I think that was all the goods. I mean, there's not a lot of shit to talk about it. I think it's a great show.
Yeah, no,
The
I would
only
agree.
complaint, like we said, would be maybe just a little bit more from like the Muse and the Victor Ayala.
Hector.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
hopefully we're going to be getting Ava Ayala anyway, which is a character that's a little bit more popular to the general population from the Spider-Man animated show.
I bet you that's who we're gonna get to. That's what it kind of looks like.
It seems like they're definitely setting that up. It's talking about setups. What do you want to see in season 2 now that it has been officially confirmed they're in production right now? What do you want to see in season 2 the most?
Ooh, it's a good question. I'm most excited about. I'm sure that'll happen anyway, but I'm excited to see the development of Daredevil
How so?
because the city's got taken over. It's in martial law, right? And at the end of the finale, if you didn't watch it, he says he has to assemble an army. Frank has been captured.
Also, another anticlimactic moment for me because I expected that room to have Spider-Man, Moon Knight,
yeah. Speaking of that,
Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Danny Rand. I already said Iron Fist, but Danny Rand, and Colleen Wing, Iron Fist too.
I expected to see maybe
Jessica Jones.
even one of them.
Yeah, just one of them even.
We didn't see nobody.
And instead, we got a whole bunch of cops: Karen Page and Matt Murdock.
Yeah, so I'm hoping maybe in the second season they introduce maybe some of those characters into it. I think that might happen.
Yep.
Maybe at least one of them, but
and I think we'll get the Frank storyline of him breaking out of the cage in that special, the Punisher special that's coming out before season 2 comes out.
I gotcha.
Which I'm really excited for that because I think it's just going to be Frank dropping bodies on bodies on bodies on bodies.
Oh, hold on. Let's speak about the way he stood on business.
The way Frank Castle stands on business.
He did not. He stitched himself back up. He let Daredevil go do his thing. He picked up his gun and walked straight into that bitch. And he took down as many of them as he could until he couldn't.
And he did. Hell, he didn't like it. He loved it.
Oh, and he didn't snitch.
Yeah.
He didn't snitch.
Nope. Absolutely not. You will never catch Frank Castle snitching.
Hell no.
But yeah, I'm really interested to see in the special him just drop the bodies of all this vigilante task force.
Oh yeah.
Cops that are there.
Yeah, I'm excited to see because I feel like where they're going with it, they're gonna kind of get Frank to bring out that inner darkness that Matt Murdock has laying around.
Oh, for sure.
So that's why I'm excited to see the way that Matt Murdock develops through this.
Yeah. I expect to
Dark
see a
time
lot
in his
more
city,
team ups in season 2 for sure.
Yeah.
Between those characters. Just because we didn't get them in that season finale doesn't mean we won't get them. Especially the other Defender characters.
And maybe they did that to make it seem like there won't be anybody else.
Exactly.
In the second season.
You never know.
Yeah.
I still have a lot of confidence in Kevin Feige and the MCU.
Yeah.
And I haven't fully lost hope yet, so I'm still riding with them. And I think they have a lot of potential. One thing I would personally like to see is them do the Red Fist saga storyline in the comics,
Oh, that would be cool.
which is where Matt Murdock goes to hell to retrieve the soul of Foggy Nelson, to bring him back, because we already know that the actor who plays Foggy Nelson is going to be coming back in season 2. So it only makes sense in one of two ways in my mind, and that would be Matt going to hell to go get Foggy's soul, which I like a lot, and they can kind of alternate the storyline and have Muse down there, and maybe Muse comes back, and that's how he gets his powers. That's another theory I've heard floating around. And then the other one would be the Secret Life of Foggy Nelson, where Foggy isn't actually dead and he had just faked his death. I think that one's less likely now. I was really counting on that theory initially, and expected a post-credit scene of Foggy still being alive, but we didn't get that, so I lost a little hope in that theory. So, but it also gained me hope, or I also gained hope in the idea of getting the Red Fist saga storyline in live action potentially. And the suit that we've gotten in those picture leaks kind of looks similar to the Devil's Reign storyline, which also involves a trip to hell. So,
It's going to be cool either way.
Yep.
I'm extremely excited for it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, I expect to see the Defenders pop up. I expect Frank to definitely appear again in season 2.
Oh, I feel like he's going to be there a lot of season 2.
And yeah, and I think they'll have their hands full for sure. Trying to take down Mayor Fisk and his vigilante task force is a serious problem, and I think it is a breeding ground for a lot of good content to watch visually. And I'm excited to see what they can cook up. But that being said, let's talk about our favorite episode from this season.
Ooh, okay.
Or would we like to start with our? Excuse me. I'm a little sick, guys. So, pardon me and my voice and other bodily functions. But do we want to start with our least favorite or our most favorite?
Well, we talked about the
Bad
first, so I feel like we should do our favorite episode.
Okay, let's do that. Yeah. What was your
So-
favorite episode?
My favorite episode, honestly, I had a lot.
Mhm. I did too.
But personally, I really liked the finale, just because of how they kind of wrapped some things up, but they also left us on a massive cliffhanger
Mm-hmm.
of like what's going to happen, where the storyline is going,
Mm-hmm.
who's his army.
Absolutely.
I like that they left us with that.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah, because it makes me excited for season 2.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
genuinely hyped. And I like the gore.
Yeah, I did too. I
like-
really did too.
I like that they're kind of opening up with that a
Mhm.
little bit more.
For sure. It was definitely gorier than any other episode so far,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and that was great. Fisk ripping that guy's head
Oh, that was
to thirds
brutal.
was brutal.
Yeah, it made my stomach turn a little bit. I did not expect it.
But my favorite episode is going to be episode 4,
Oh,
and that's
It's a great one too.
purely for the conversation between Frank and Matt in the bunker.
Yeah, it was a fantastic
That
one.
the emotion in that scene was incredible, and it brought back Frank with the beard. Bring back Frank's beard. He looked better with the beard. I can't grow a beard, so I need Frank Castle to have one for me. But yeah, that was my favorite episode overall. It was a hard one to decide because there were a lot of really good episodes.
Yeah, there were a lot of really, really good episodes that were either like just emotional or suspenseful or
Yep, and
really tense the whole time.
yeah, and there were a lot of really good individual moments. So
Yeah.
I just had to pick for myself what the best individual moment was, and that was Frank and Matt's convo.
Yeah, that's an easy second for me, I
Yeah,
think.
for sure. Alrighty, and then least favorite episode.
Ooh.
My least favorite episode, and I feel like this one was harder, because every episode had at least one really good aspect to it.
Yeah.
But that being said, my least favorite episode is going to be episode 8. I thought it was kind of uneventful. The Bullseye storyline felt kind of underwhelming, where he escapes prison, and then goes after.
He gets released.
Or does he get a release? No, he
Vanessa-
escapes. He
Vanessa-
escapes. Yeah, because he goes through the medical ward and he escapes. He escapes prison. He kills the guard. He escapes prison, and then he goes and he takes a shot at Fisk. Matt takes the bullet instead, which I understand why Matt did it and his character did it, but at the same time, why the fuck would you do that? You know? But other than that, it was a good episode. It was just hard to pick the least favorite, and if I had to pick one, this one was the one. And that was kind of the reason why. Is it just didn't do a whole lot for me. I thought it was fine, but it wasn't any big bomb drops for me because it was all stuff I expected to happen, you know?
Yeah. For mine, I have episode 6,
Mm-hmm.
but I think I'm going to change that. Because
Okay.
at the time when I wrote this down,
Mm-hmm.
I was still pretty upset that we saw a whole 23 seconds of Muse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wanted more. So that was really my only argument with number 6 is just I didn't like that he
Mm-hmm.
died off so
Yeah.
quick. So, but that was still a good episode. But now that you're saying it, 8, nothing really happened.
Yeah, for sure.
It was a really uneventful episode. The only thing that was eventful is Matt got shot,
Yep, absolutely.
which I don't know why he jumped in front of him either. Because
Yep.
if he didn't, we wouldn't have this whole problem.
Yep. But that's kind of the whole thing with Matt and his character and
Yeah.
being the good Catholic boy.
Oh, I
and
understand.
needing
that.
to not take a life and always try and save a life.
Yeah, it just hurts my soul a little
Yeah,
bit.
for sure. Absolutely. Alrighty, let's give our overall ratings for the season on a scale from 1 to 10. What do you got, my friend?
Ooh, we getting specific?
Yep.
Okay.
To
The
at least
whole-
1 decimal point.
Okay, the whole. You thought I was gonna do 2
Yeah.
decimal points?
Is that not what you were talking about?
Talking about like an 8.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, could I do like an 8.7?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You just can't do it's 8.75.
Yeah, why did you think I was gonna do that?
I don't know.
I'm not that specific.
Then why'd you ask about specifics?
If I could do like 8.5, not like 8.372 fucking.
Oh my goodness.
You
Yes, you
genius.
can do at least the point, the 1 decimal point.
Okay, 8.9. I give it an 8.9.
8.9?
8.9.
Okay. All right. My overall rating is going to be a little bit lower than that. And that's just because I think I did it to myself. I had higher expectations and I had very extreme expectations. And it's more against that than the show itself. But I give this overall season rating a 7.5. Still very good, but not top tier, especially for Marvel by any means.
Yeah.
I think this was a good show, but it was not top tier show from Marvel or even a top 10 piece of content from Marvel.
I really liked it.
I did too.
The
But-
reason I'm gonna give you the reason I gave it an 8.9
Okay.
is the difference in the audio and the visual.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like makes a big difference connecting to the story.
That's fair.
And I really like the way that they did that. And that's why I'm giving it a higher rating. It wasn't the best.
Yeah, no, that's very fair.
Put it right below a 9.
Yeah,
It's pretty good.
absolutely. Alrighty. Our last little bit on
Oh, what do we got?
Daredevil. We're going to rank it from least or best to worst.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to the original Netflix show. There was 3 seasons of that show. Season 1 was the introduction to Matt as Matt Murdock. We got an origin story about how he got his abilities and his development into Daredevil. Season 2, we got more development of him as the character of Daredevil and saw more of the lawyer side of Matt Murdock. And we got to watch him defend Frank Castle, which was Frank's first appearance, or was it? Yeah, because the show came after that. His show came after, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, season 2 is the first.
And then
time we talked
season
to-
3 is where Matt has his first real big internal debate about whether he wants to be Matt Murdock at all, and if Daredevil or if the Matt Murdock personality is needed to be able to successfully perform his duties as Daredevil. Where it's kind of the opposite in this season, where he thinks Daredevil's unnecessary and Matt Murdock is more necessary. All 3 seasons were fantastic. Everybody loves this show. Everybody talks about the show. It's very highly talked about and rated. But where does it rate compared to this new season of Daredevil Born Again for you? The official introduction to the MCU. Now we're officially in it, baby.
I know. Whew. Let me tell you, it was hard.
Okay.
It was
I
hard
agree.
making
I agree.
this
It
list.
was hard.
So if any of you hear this and you're like, these are terrible, terrible opinions, it's not set in stone. It's very close.
Yeah,
from
absolutely.
top to
And the
bottom.
ratings will change as time goes on for sure.
Exactly. But I put season 2 of the original show
Yep.
as my number 1.
Okay.
I loved seeing Frank Castle in there.
Mm-hmm.
I just loved how it developed through season 2. And for number 2, I had Born Again,
Okay.
season 1. It was really close with season 1. Yet again, I just really liked the audio and visual, like
Yeah.
the way they filmed it.
For sure.
I feel like it made a big difference. And then at number 3, I have season 1.
Okay.
Number 4, I have season 3.
Fair enough. Alrighty. Yeah. I'm gonna start at the bottom. My number 4 was season 3, just like you. My number 3 was Born Again. I thought it was great. And I still even really like season 3, even though it's my number 4 spot. But it just doesn't compare to the first 2 seasons of the original show in my mind.
No, I get that. That's why it's a close, because, yeah, it's a close one.
My number 2 spot, season 1, classic. You can't go wrong. And none of this happens without that season. And then my overall favorite, just like you, is season 2, mainly for the reason of Frank Castle and just how awesome that storyline is and how quotable that entire season is, especially everything between Frank. One of my favorite lines is "You hit him and they get back up. I hit him and they stay down."
Yeah,
like,
that interaction between the two, that
yes.
first interaction was,
Absolutely.
it was beautiful.
Yep. And yeah, just character development in that season was awesome. The action scenes in that season were awesome. The storyline was amazing. I just really loved that season all the way around.
Absolutely. What do we got next?
I think you have a prompt.
Take a break.
We'll take a break and we'll be right back.
Take a break.
All right, and we're back. We just took a quick intermission, and we are back, and we are ready to talk about the next topic. Ethan, what do you got?
What you got on here?
For those audio-only listeners, he's leaning over to read the notes on my laptop. Because I'm the only one who prepared notes for this one.
Well, if I'm being honest, I didn't think we were going to do it at first, but I'm completely prepared.
Okay.
The topic is real country music dead, or are there certain artists still keeping it alive?
Okay. What's your argument?
I don't think real country music's around anymore.
Okay.
Like we had a conversation earlier.
Which we've almost had this conversation several times, and we keep having stopped ourselves from having this conversation,
So we can have it on
save
here.
it for the
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
So I don't know why you didn't think we were going to actually have it, but
Well, don't ask me that. It doesn't.
no,
That's not the point.
Yeah.
I think that, you know how hip hop, you have different types of hip hop,
Yep. Give some examples though for the audience.
like alternative hip hop You've got alternative rock.
Mm-hmm.
You've got lo-fi. You've got all these different types of genres, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like country music nowadays is more pop leaning.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why there isn't a different subgenre, and it's all just considered country music.
Mm-hmm. See, okay, so who would you consider to be real country music artists then? What do you consider to be real country?
All of the greats: George Strait, Toby Keith, Travis Tritt, Randy Travis, Tracy Byrd,
And there's not a single more.
Vince Gill,
There's not a
Willie
single
Nelson.
active artist that you would consider.
Cody Johnson,
Cody Johnson. Okay.
Charlie Crockett.
Okay.
Charlie Crockett.
So you're already disproving your point. There are some artists keeping it alive. And see, my
argument is why it's not broken up.
And I understand that argument, but my argument would be that country music has always been evolving and changing. That's the thing about country music, is that it's a very wide range.
But
it's a very wide range of things that happen. Let's go through
so
it.
Has
in
every
the
other
50s,
genre.
In the 50s, when country music really first started, you had rockabilly music. Rock and hillbilly music kind of mixed. It was still considered country music. Some of the greats: Johnny Cash, Elvis, and Carl Perkins. All three of those guys had very different sounds, but they were all considered country music. Elvis just had a few country songs, but still very different sounds, very different range. Then you had the 60s with the Nashville sound on the rise. You had Patsy Cline, Jim Reeves, and Eddie Arnold, which that was still also considered country music. And then you went into the 80s and the 90s. You had contemporary country. That's where you got Garth Brooks, Shania Twain, and Alan Jackson. Again, another range of highly regarded country artists that had very different sounds but still fit under the genre of country. And then you moved into the early 2000s. You got Carrie Underwood, Toby Keith, the Zac Brown Band. And that, again, different sounds still under the same banner. And then 2010s, now you have Morgan Wallen, Luke Combs, Thomas Rhett, and then you jump into the 2020s. I think people still I think all of the country music is qualified, but still keeping that old kind of sound alive. You got Zach Top, Chris Stapleton, and the Red Stray Clays specifically. All three of those. And so my argument would be that country music has always been the genre of music where it doesn't have to specifically fit in the niche to be considered country music. And I think that's what makes country music great, is because there are so many greats in all the songs that you can find a song for when you're sad and in the dumps and your girlfriend just left you and all you have is your truck. But you also have country songs of when you're just floating down a river having a good time with your friends. You have the songs for when you're angry and when you're pissed off and you want to go punch a hole in a wall. You have songs for when you're sad and you just want to cry your eyes out. Like, country music has always been that genre that fits everything, and that's why I'm okay with like Beyonce making a country album, because it's just welcoming someone else into the genre that I know and have loved my entire life.
I get that, but what I'm saying is with like a lot of the new artists that are doing country,
Mm-hmm.
when I hear it, I don't even consider it country.
Mm-hmm.
It's got way more of a pop sound to it. They might be singing about country stuff.
Mm-hmm. And that's what makes it country.
Yeah, but it's more pop.
It's just pop country, which still is country music.
Yeah, but that's the sub.
It's the subcategory. You just want it clearly defined.
Yes.
I don't think there's a reason to clearly define it.
I think there's a big difference in between the two, though.
Because I think country music is the one thing you search by the years. You know, like if you want a specific sound, you look up. If you want some like outlaw country and some good shit like that, and some like real storyline country songs, you look up 50s country. You want just cool, chill, make you feel good moves. You got 2000s fucking country. You look up it. You largely look it up, except for the more recent stuff. You look it up by the year, because country music is so broad. And I don't think there's a reason to define it specifically in individual categories. I mean, if you really wanted to make a pop country category, you could, but then you have to make a hillbilly or rockabilly country. You have to make a Nashville sound country. You have to make a 80s and 90s contemporary country. You have to make an alternative country. You have to make an indie country. You have to make 1.5 million different genres that'd get out of hand. Where country music is already good because you can, as long as you kind of fit that style, like you fit the style of country music in just the tiniest little bit, you're country music. You're good. Come on in. And if you sound good and you make me feel good, I'm not gonna talk shit about you. This ain't heaven, or this ain't Texas. Ain't no hold 'em. So lay your cards down, 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 down. Like, it's a bop, dude.
No.
It's not a go-to song for me, but it's a bop. It makes me feel good. It makes me want to groove a little bit. I'm not gonna hate on it, dude.
You've got problems.
I might have problems, but it's a good song, dude. And it's I can still consider it country music. It's not Alan Jackson and George Strait country music, but it's still country music. Regardless. Do I want more of the old sound to make a revitalization and come back in more artists? Absolutely. And that's why I love artists like Zach Top, Coulter Wall. Yeah, you brought up Coulter Wall. Yeah, absolutely. Coulter Wall is among that list. I'd put Zach Bryan on that list too. I'd put what's the Ernest. I'd put him on that list. I'd put Jelly Roll is another artist that, like, it's a little different, but it's still country music, you know? And it's still good music. And that's what country music is to me, is just music that touches your soul with that country twang a little bit. Just a tiny bit of that twang. Whether it's a banjo, a fiddle, or just the story you're telling. You know? What are you thinking over there?
I can't put any of my thoughts into words.
What do you mean? Why not?
I don't know how to explain it.
Well, give it a whirl.
I'm trying to. I've been trying to this whole time.
You just want the genres clearly defined.
Yeah.
But so you think there needs to be 1 million genres then?
I don't think there needs to be 1 million genres. You can do it vague.
Okay, what would be your vague genres then?
Because there's like rock country already.
That you would set up.
You got outlaw.
Okay.
Like your old country.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't have to even define that. Let me think. You got outlaw country. You got outlaw western, pop, rock, and there's like hip hop country too. So you could just break it up like that.
Mm-hmm.
Little subgenres. I might all fall under the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
But this shit's more pop. This shit's more rock.
I understand that.
I think like pure just country music.
But I think that already kind of exists, though, no? Does that not already exist? Like, if I go on Spotify right now.
It does. That's what I'm saying. So why is that not? Like, I know it's a thing.
Yeah. So you're okay with it how it is? What's already there is good enough for you?
Yeah, it's just when people talk about it,
I understand.
I don't like them generally throwing it all into the same category.
Yeah, I get that. But again, I don't have a problem with that.
I think there's a big difference between, oh, it's a really good pop country song compared to, oh, that's a really good George Strait song from the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big difference in between the two types of music it is. It's all country, but it's so different. I feel like you've got to throw it into its own category.
You have to
almost
kind of draw those lines, is what you're saying.
That's what I'm trying to
I get you.
say.
Okay, fair enough. Well, all right, you in the audience, let us know what you think. Do you think there needs to be clearly defined genres, or do you think it all just fits under the country music banner? And what is country music to you? Who are your favorite artists? Who do you think is keeping the country music sound alive today? Let us know in the comments. That is going to wrap it up for us today. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Plot Twist specific of the Punchlines and Plot Twist podcast. We had a great time today. Episode 1 and 2. We are going to get started on editing those right now to get them out to you as soon as possible. Anything else you have to say to the fans at home?
Yeah, right now it's looking like we're going to try to release our punchlines, which is, if you haven't seen it, the martial arts, mostly UFC, some other sports maybe
Betting
thrown
related.
in there. Yeah, maybe some predictions.
Mhm.
That's our punchline side. We're going to try to release those every weekend.
Yep.
And we're going to try to stay one fight card ahead for the UFC.
Yep. So you're always getting the week of the fight card. You're getting an episode about that fight card
Yep.
and our picks and predictions for that.
Exactly.
It might end up being towards the end of the week if we have some stuff come up. But we're gonna try and get it out early in the week, probably Monday, Tuesday for you, and then have episode 2, which is that punchlines episode that you just listened to, where we're gonna talk about conspiracies and pop culture and anything else we want to talk about. That episode should be coming out usually about Tuesday, Wednesday in the week. But again, that depends on what happens in our lives because we both do work full-time jobs, and this is something we're just doing on the side right now. But with your help and support, you can fund us doing this full-time eventually.
You can fund my lifestyle.
Yep, absolutely. We
allow it.
we love and appreciate you guys. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Let your friends know. Tell them to listen in. Let us know what you liked, what you didn't like, how you felt about the conspiracies, how you felt about Daredevil Born Again, and how you feel about country music. And with that being said, we will catch you guys all next week. Peace.